Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Mindset. So, in today's episode, today's live, we got a special guest today. We have Stu, the founder of STU, coming up. So, he's going to be joining me in just a minute. And what we're going to be talking about today is he's going to be sharing his experience with creating a token, a meme coin on Pulsechain, and why he thinks that Pulsechain is the best ecosystem to actually create tokens on. He's also going to be sharing his journey with Pulsechain, his experience with actually getting scammed, and maybe some things that you guys can actually look about, and the positive twist that he actually got out of it. Also, there's a lot of hype today. I'm personally very hyped up. The 414 dev Maria revealed their face to he revealed his face to people in Europe, which is very exciting. So there's a lot of hype. Access Alive came and did a stream, so the whole ecosystem's really bubbling up. So it's a really exciting episode. We got a lot to talk about. So with that, let's bring up Stu. So, welcome, Stu.
What's going on, Steve? How's it going? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine, man. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. How about yourself?
Loving life. Absolutely loving life. Beautiful day in Australia. Nice and sunny. Nothing to complain about.
You know what? It's a little bit. It was a nice day over here in Canada, Ontario, where I am. But it's about 7:30, starting to get dark. But beautiful day, man.
Nice, man. Nice. So, you were mentioning backstage that you basically got the week off. You're enjoying this week. You got Easter, Good Friday tomorrow, the Easter weekend over there as well. So you're enjoying yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I knew I was coming on stream today, so I kind of had to lay back in my personal celebration. So I I can kind of let go a little now, and we can have a little bit of fun on the stream here. So yeah, man. You know what? Just want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate you know the time. You put a lot of work into this, and I it's funny because you and me were even talking before this about having me on before I created Stew. So it's just another thing for us to talk about, which is nice.
It was perfect, yeah. And I think I know that you do love to get into a little bit of wine, so make sure that you're enjoying yourself with a bit of wine. I got my tea this morning, so
Absolutely, buddy. Cheers up, eh?
good stuff, man. Good stuff. So let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about your journey into. Well, first of all, I'd be very interested in your journey with cryptocurrency and how it led you to Pulse Chain.
Well, I think like a lot of people during the time, Dogecoin was the hype. The uh, what is it? AMC was the hype. It was the stock was the hype. GameStop was the hype. That's what I was thinking about. So
Mm,
that brought me kind of into crypto. I was already investing before that, but I was never a fan of the stock market. Um, so you kind of get into Doge, and then I did well on a lot of altcoins. Um, got into memes, learned the hard way that the meme world is not friendly. Um, Eventually, after a couple of years, it led me to Pulse Chain, and things have been just unreal. I can't even explain to you what this chain has done to my life and how it's changed me. Like I look at it as a job every day, and literally, it's the funnest thing I've done in years.
mm. So how would you describe your experience on Pulse Chain so far? What kind of things have made you fall in love with it?
Well, first of all, it really took a lot of downside for me to really grasp what this was all about and to really start making money. And essentially, it was kind of started with trading the charts the wrong way. That's always a good start. Or chasing green candles, and eventually you have to kind of take a step back and say, "Hey, I'm not making money. What am I doing wrong?" And I had a lot of things happen at that time, and I can't explain it, dude. Everything clicked for me, and I did like 100x on my portfolio in maybe 2.5 months just by trading charts.
Wow. Wow. That's phenomenal. And so, okay, hang on. But before we get into the crux of the episode, because I mean, even though this is kind of an anti-Richard Hart stance, I do like to trade with portions of my portfolio. When you say trade, what are we talking about? What kind of time frames? What kind of length of time are the holds? What kind of charts are you trading?
Well, you know what? Like I mean, I'll call myself a volume whore. So I leave myself with a certain amount to trade with. And it's when there's a hype towards something, so especially when it comes to PDI, Teddy, and Atropa. So those are
Mm.
what I call the actual three leaders of the eco. So usually if PDI is pumping, well then Teddy's pumping and Atropa's pumping, and everyone's just saying, hey, everything's pumping. But if you actually go and look at the charts, asset versus asset, you'll actually find which one is leading over the other. So if you have PDI and say you buy in PDI that day and it just does a 25% increase, well, you can now trade that into Atropa, which also did a 25% increase against Teddy, and then Teddy back into Pulse. So you've kind of done yourself a multiplier effect there. So that's kind of what I do, is I really kind of look for the leading token when it comes to volume. And at the end of the day, you also want to find the exit where your asset is actually over the asset you're trying to trade for, because at the end of the day, you want to gain more tokens. And this is kind of the illusion that, you know, trading dollar value has kind of created, where people can look at a chart and say, hey, you know, I'm losing money. But really, in hindsight, you might actually be gaining money.
Nice, man. So with that example that you just mentioned there, so you would go from DAI, which is DAI stablecoin, which is absolutely pumping right now, 28%. Then you'd rotate that into Atropa, 24.5%, and then you'd rotate that into Teddy Bear, 13.8%, and then back into Pulsechain when Teddy Bear has a little pump. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I mean, you can, and it doesn't always work like that, because you know what? One day, Teddy might be the leader. You know, Teddy might
Mm,
be getting pumped, and then Teddy's pumping over Atropa, and Atropa is maybe just leading over PDI. So you just kind of got to find your way through the ecosystem. And this is why, like, a lot of people don't really probably get why the liquidity map was made by SteadyPop, which, by, you know, is a beautiful thing. If anyone hasn't seen it, please go check that out. Um,
mm.
because that's your multiplier path, you know, and that's also your path to buy these tokens using the thickest liquidity without losing money when you do trades.
Mm. And how long would you say that kind of thing has taken you to work out?
Honestly, dude, it kind of took something in my life to happen, and it took the right person in my life to tell me to change my mindset. And since then, it's literally been like, I can go into it, man. Things just fall into my lap now, because I just, you know, you just have to really take any situation you're in and just put a positive spin on it, and your life just drastically changes in a positive way.
Mm. So who's do you mind sharing who this is who
My
this is?
mother, my mother,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
So your
and
mother
this,
really helped you change your perspective?
yeah, and this is a woman who just lost her husband after maybe, you know, 40 years, and this was maybe less than a year ago. So she really kind of, man, I don't know. I can't explain the transformation she made, but like, it's very, I don't know. The words are kind of taken out of my mouth, but it's like motivating. You know what I mean? To really see someone like that come from that type of grief and really build themselves back up, and then, you know, then you're in a bad position, and then you kind of wonder, like, why are you there? You know, like, this person went through a lot worse than you are, and they're actually in a better place, and so you actually have to take a step back and say, what am I doing differently? And she kind of just, you know, led me on the path to kind of change my mindset, and it's made a world of difference. And I encourage anyone to literally take any negative situation and put it in a positive. And you know what? As much as it pains me to say that, unfortunately, maybe I had to lose my father to make $1 billion, but, like, you know what? I'm gonna make the world a goddamn better place because of it. So
That is awesome, man. I think there's a very, very valuable lesson there. It's something that my meditation teacher talks about as well, that really we can really reflect on our own lives. And every time like humans, we have a natural tendency. I mean, even scientifically speaking, we err on the side of negativity. So we're just naturally glass half full. It's scientifically proven. So when you can actually adapt your mind and develop your mind into a positive and grateful mindset, the whole world opens up to you because all the opportunities are actually there. But if you're stuck in the cloud of your mind, you can't actually see the opportunities because you're so into yourself and so like this like woe is me and everything is dark. But once the world opens up and your mind becomes positive, all these opportunities just start to flood into your life. One, you can see, and two, they just naturally gravitate towards your life. It's really, really quite profound.
And you know what, Steve? It's like there is no secret call groups. There is no like someone giving me insider information. It's just being a trader in this space. Not everyone can do it. There's a reason why, like, for every successful Pulsechain, or sorry, for every successful crypto story you hear, there is probably 100 bad ones you are going to hear, and you probably
Mm.
don't hear about them. And that's just how it is. And unfortunately, people trade with emotion. You know, I was actually kind of thinking of a couple of sayings today before this. So I played hockey growing up, and my father had a good saying saying, "Hey, listen, when you're playing against your friends aren't your friends on the ice." And it's kind of the same when you play the charts.
Mm.
I know who's got whose wallet, but like it's fair game when you're in a chart and you're trading. So it's essentially like when you're trading, you want to have the memory of a goldfish, but when there's blood in the water, you want to be like a shark. So you want to obviously, if you want to forget the bad trades, but then you want to buy the dips. You want to buy the smart dips, and at the end of the day, that's really the end of it. And you just can't trade with emotion. You can't trade based off of what happens in the real world. You just have to look at the charts and just forget everything. Don't listen to anyone but yourself. And you have to find what works for you. That is absolutely the bottom line. Listen, try to trade. If it doesn't work for you, then try to farm for a bit. The V1 farm in Pulsechain is probably the best thing going right now that people don't
Mm.
understand. And then on top of that, it's just like you have to find what works for you, because if you're losing money one way, you have to adapt your strategy. You know, if you're chasing the coin that the next person is talking about, and you find yourself like, hey, you might win 1 out of 5, but you're losing 4 times out of 5, and you're not winning money. Like, I hate to say that's not sustainable. Just go to the casino if that's the case. But you have to find something that works for you. You have to take profits from these type of trades, and that's kind of what I actually started doing. So we talked about me getting scammed. I was in a terrible place. Something was going on in my life, and I needed to pull out money, and I kind of actually had planned to do it anyway. So it was one of those things where every week I pull out a certain amount just because I want to make this passive income. Um, just happened to be I needed to do it then, and a lot of stuff was going on. I decided to search a Pulsechain bridge. It took me directly to a lookalike bridge site, me not really being in the direct state of mind. Went to, hey, approved token once, twice, 3 times. And it's like, you go to the transactions, like, okay, first of all, your transactions aren't showing up. I'm not really reading what I'm approving because I'm just kind of trying to get this over with. And then before you know it, I remember someone in the pub saying about an approval scam on the bridge. And dude, I was like, my heart dropped, and I started looking, and I started literally approving the highest dollar asset in my wallet to be taken every single time I approved for fucking pennies.
Mm.
And in a matter of seconds, I lost about maybe $15,000 to $20,000. I
Oh
know,
man.
I know it was funny. I kept saying the number got higher and higher, but as I did the math and as I realized what I lost, it was like, damn, like I got fucking hit hard. Sorry for my language, but and that was crushing. But kind of in hindsight, I'll be honest, like with what was going on in my life at the time, that was probably the least important thing. So that really didn't bother me. But then this is the
Well,
beautiful. But then so hold on. You
go
go
on.
first. Go first. You go first, my friend.
No, you go first, man. I was just going to
Oh,
summarize what you were saying. Please continue.
so I actually kind of want to say that after a couple of days, I kind of rebounded my thought, and like I had a grief thing go on. So obviously, the loss of something takes a toll on you for a couple of days. And I believe it was that Saturday I even came to the pub and said, "Hey, listen, enough's enough." I said I'm going to make fucking double back what that guy took from me. A matter of less than time, and I did. But before that, I had an X amount of people reach out to me. I denied, I think, most of their donations. But one guy, for some reason, I just felt like he was going to say no for an answer. He wasn't going to take no for an answer, and he gave me a hefty charity donation, and that
Wow.
was a lot, and that was kind of like, you know what, the universe had your back,
Mm.
and man, you know what, that shit goes a long way. So
Do you know what, though, man?
Yeah, go ahead,
Go on.
dude.
Sorry. Keep going.
No, dude, I can keep talking forever. All I also want to say is, since then, I've actually made probably double that since.
Amazing.
More. I have hopefully given said gentleman back more, if not enough that he feels like is enough for his charitable donation, because I feel like I always have to pay people back. So I did that. On top of that, every single person that asked to donate to me, I sent them a gift as well. So you know what, man? That shit goes a long way, and I appreciated every single person that did that for me. And you know what? If you ain't in the pub, you're in the wrong place.
The pub's the best scene in Pulsechain, to be honest. It really, really is. So on that, I think it's really beautiful that it's not a coincidence, right? If you were an asshole, no one's going to be donating anything to you. But you're not an asshole. You're actually you have a good character, you have a good nature, the way that you speak in the pub, the way that you present yourself, even the way that you mentioned earlier, like you're going to make billions and you're really going to change the world. Those are the types of people that I want to see in Pulsechain, and those are the types of people that are in the pub, and those are the types of people that the pub wants to nurture as well. And so I think it's no coincidence that you actually were given a leg up when you needed it most. So I think it's really beautiful that that actually happened. I think it's amazing that you managed to make it back. I was so happy when I heard that you made double back like in such a short period of time. I was so impressed as well. So well done to you, man. I think there's some good lessons for everybody about safety and making sure that you're not clicking the wrong links. I think the best thing to do, man, for everyone, just for everyone's sake. I mean, it's not going to happen anymore because it's on PulseX, but use Go Real DeFi. GoRealDeFi.com. Just use this, keep it up here, and it shows you everything you need to know is here. So it's got the Explorer, the bridge, Hex, Exchange, everything here. So I've actually downloaded the actual apps for everything. So, but otherwise, just if you don't want to download the apps, use this. But downloading the apps is by far the best. So safety is really like one of the number one things that Richard emphasizes as well a lot. Richard emphasizes that a lot. So, and then just quickly going back to what you were talking about with the trading, there was three things. One, learning how to take profits. Two, learning how to cut your losses. And three, which is the most important, in my opinion, is the emotional control. Every single trader and investor that I've ever listened to that has ever hit it big time, every single one of them, without exception, has said you have to master your emotions. And I know this from my own experience. When I FOMO buy candles, it's like it's really just like you're part of this. Your mind is part, just like a drop in the ocean, and this ocean is the that's moving this up. And I know with the Atropa, when I was first watching Atropa, my mates were telling me, I was like, nah, I want to look into it first. So I started researching it, and then I did a deep dive, and then it started going up. I'm like, right, that's it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to buy it, and it was the top because it was like that. I represent that drop in the ocean that's like very calculated, but also like doesn't want to go with their emotions too much. But then does have a breaking point, and that's my breaking point, and it was the top, and it's fine because my strategy allows me to buy. I scaled in, scaled, bought down here as well, so no problem at all. So yeah, man, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that. Positive mindset is king of everything. I mean, the emotional control comes with the right kind of mindset. So with that, if we can just very quickly pivot into the Atropa ecosystem as well, because things are pumped. I mean, look at this. This is pumping. This is broken out. Di's broken out of this key zone here. So I've been tracking this key zone on the channel. It's broken out. And a lot of this has to do with Maria's face reveal. So if anyone hasn't seen it, so here is here is Bay. So Bay's a dude. I think a lot of us knew that it was a dude, but it was a bit of fun. So I didn't 100% know that this was who it was, but people had shared that video with me. So has that changed your perspective on Atropa? How's this sort of impacted your mindset today, Stu, with this big reveal from Maria?
Well, you know what? Like, I'm a little old school when it comes to this stuff. So we know a couple guys met Maria in the pub before this, and they were kind of tight-lipped on everything. And I was like, that's like OG shit right there. Like no one says a word, and that to me is like respect. So it's like when I saw it, my first instinct was like, damn, like I hope at least he wasn't. I'm gonna say they. I'm gonna say they because it's Maria. So it's cool. I can't say he. I can't do it. Okay, so I'll say they. I just hope they weren't ambushed into the sense where they had the interview, where it was just like you want to kind of have like a sign of respect in the sense of like this person kind of came out of the way to kind of meet us. And I mean, listen, I'm not crapping on whoever posted the video, this and that. Like to each your own personal opinions, but that's how I felt. I just think these type of things should be private. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Maria wanted to be doxxed. We already kind of knew who she was, but who they were. But you kind of get what I mean. Like I said, I've always been kind of hush hush. But if that was totally with their intention to go and say, hey, like I'm down for this, blah blah blah, then like this is the last I'll say about it. But we just don't want to spook Maria, essentially, is what I'm trying to say.
Totally agree. And that was one of the reasons why when people were showing me that it was this person in this video, I didn't want to talk about it because I thought if Maria wanted to mention it, Maria would have mentioned it. So I also, out of respect, didn't want to dox that. But I think, I'm hopeful now that with this situation with the meetup in Europe, that it wasn't something where I would imagine Maria would have been comfortable doing it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. That's really what my hope is. I would imagine that because KCBTV, I mean, they're a good big YouTube channel. So I think Maria was comfortable doing it. And one thing that I like about it now, I think it's going to give a lot of confidence to the market. And you can already see that reflected in the price chart. So Axis Alive has had a big stream today with Ben Potvin, who is like one of the big goats of the Atropa ecosystem. And just seeing everything break out, I think it's giving a lot of confidence in the market. And my tweet that I put up like a few hours ago is just like thousands of views already. So people are really interested, and it gives that trust factor, I think, for people, which is really important, which is what I really like. And maybe that's what Maria was actually, why Maria actually came and revealed their face, because I think perhaps, unfortunately, people did judge that aspect of it. I never did. It never concerned me because I just saw the work that was being done. It's like if I was a scammer, I would not be putting in like it looks like, if you're reading the chat logs back in the day, it was like, on like 12 to 18 hours a day on the chat log, plus producing coins, plus doing all this trading and managing of the liquidity bonding. Like it's not a small amount of work. Meme coins, man, like meme coins will last like a day. Garbage meme coins, rug pulls last like a day, maybe a month at most. Like this is 9 months plus on the test net. For me, that was all the evidence that I needed that someone's actually legitimate about what's actually happening. And I'm also looking at the results of the chart. So
Well, and you know what? And that's kind of like the beauty of all this going on. It's like so personally, like I don't watch anything like I just kind of stick to the Maria chat log and the groups I'm in, and I kind of just watch the chart. Um, you know, I got a couple people I follow when tweets come in, and that's kind of it. Like you know, and it's just a good way to keep my opinion to myself. Um, which you know I kind of prefer to do to see what's going on with everything. Um, but man, like it's like one of those things. So it nine iron, the work that guy's done, beautiful. Like we need him to reassure people where that money is coming from, and like because this is the thing. So everyone is like different investors. So people are like, hey, I need some sort of backing on what's going on before I can put money into this. Kind of just like what you said. I need someone to put a face to this person before I can put money in. Um, there's a lot of people who already are just like, hey, listen, we already know what the hell's going on. The noise doesn't matter. We're going to just keep moving and keep building. And that's kind of what you're seeing everywhere, right? And then in what you said with like, you know, like you see memes pop up all the time, like, you know, some last a month, some last days. Some people are really doing some terrific things with, you know, I guess we'll put memes in quotations. So like, it is nice to see, man. Like, and it's very undervalued right now. Pulsechain very undervalued. The Richard Hart FUD was, I mean, I don't know. I don't even call it FUD because, like I said, I ignore all that stuff. I just look at it as an opportunity. Hey, free hex coming in if you had LP. Uh, buy the dip. I know it dipped a bit more. Buy the dip again. If it comes back up, well then hey, you're in profit. But you just can't get emotional when these things go up and down. And listen, I feel for the people that lost money on that tweet because like I'd be pissed too. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm kind of saying when it comes to memory of a goldfish, and like you kind of always have to, you always have to sniff the blood in the water. Like if you're serious about crypto and you're serious about being in this business and making this a living, you can't just buy something that someone says to buy and then walk away for a couple hours. Because, like you said, a meme lasts a day. Well, listen, if you're buying a meme coin, you better be watching that chart for the next 5 or 10 minutes because that might be your opportunity to make a lot of money, or it might be an opportunity to lose a lot of money. And unfortunately, that's just how it works right now. Like I think, what was it? A couple nights ago, I think frig, everyone of their uncle was dropping memes. I was like, dang, I dropped two at the wrong time, you know. And
Mm.
it was like left, right, and center. People were dropping memes, and then the next day, the whole market was rising. It was like that was kind of like a telltale sign that usually always is. Um,
Mm.
but it's unfortunate to see people lose money in these type of things because everyone does chase green candles. It's a sign of motion because you know what it is. Because I'll tell you personally, because it's like, hey, I know what I want to buy. Hey, but this might be my chance to double my money up, and I can buy more. And then
Mm.
that's when the traders got you. They
Yep.
got you buying the top. As soon as we see those big buys come in, as soon as you know some of the big things go out, it's like you start seeing the profit come in. But like, you know, though, but this is the thing. It's like you have to take profits, but you also don't have to dump the charts. And at the same time, like you also want to leave yourself maybe with a bag because if things do take off, well, then you're up. And this is I was actually gonna kind of lead off. You were saying there was three things. I was gonna say there's four. Greed is probably the
Mm.
biggest one on that list because if you can trade without being greedy, then it goes a long way. Like obviously, like we're all in this business to make money. Like, you know, let's not joke about that. But I guess the best way I can kind of say, like, if you can trade the MV chart and make money, then you're a trader because
Mm.
because you have to put little amounts in to actually make profits. And what people don't realize is when it comes to slippage, people ignore it, and that's where the LP providers win is when you ignore the slippage. And Hey man, I'm all for people overbuying slippage, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, as long as you know it's there, if you're buying it, then like at the end of the day, I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, okay, thank you. But
Totally, man.
dude, I was gonna ask you. I keep hearing about this. You cheated on Bay. What's going on with that?
Oh man, yeah, I that's what people have been joking about. So yeah, I went over. So I like to follow. I like to get an understanding of the whole. I like to get an understanding of the things that I'm involved in, and part of that is understanding Pulsechain in the context of the rest of the crypto market. So my portfolio is divided into three, for example. So I saw a trend moving towards base chain. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go here and I'm going to see if I can capture this trend with the intention that if I can put a tiny little bit of money, trade it up, and then bring it back to the Pulsechain ecosystem. So I went over to base chain, and man, honestly, like it's totally garbage. Like it's so crap. Like there's hundreds of meme coins that are being released like every single day, and they'll get up to 50K market cap rug, maybe 100K market cap rug, maybe 500K rug. Like there's so many rugs. And one thing that it's, I mean, again, there was two main intentions. One, to learn about, or three really. One, to see if I can actually have the capacity to spot a trend and follow it, which it seems like I did. So I was very happy with that. Two, can I actually profit from that trend? Because part of my portfolio setup is to capture liquidity from this ecosystem and then pull it into one that's down and then cycle it in like this. And the third one is to try and understand the mindset of what it means to be a meme trader. So in that sense, it's actually been a very, very valuable exercise. And sorry, four is so I could actually potentially build up a little bit of an audience to show them the light, and the light being Pulsechain. Because if you look at the memes there where they rug, and then you look at the memes or the quote unquote memes here, they're on another level, man. This is brilliant. I mean, BFF, TRSI. I keep talking about TRSI, but there's so many like it. Teddy Bear. This is Teddy Bear 9. This is Mantisa. Like again, this here, this little portion here. If you zoom all the way into this, that's it. That's a meme on. That's a meme on base. Done. Finished. Game over. But what has it actually done? Keeps going down. Now with the liquidity bonding and the burn liquidity, it actually goes up. So it's giving me more faith. And like, man, honestly, the gratitude I have for Pulsechain and how amazing this ecosystem is. Like every time everyone on Twitter is like just spreading negativity, it really like, I'm trying to just be this, put a little bit of light into there, because actually this, do people understand how effing amazing this ecosystem is? One of the biggest ecosystems. So talking about the liquidity flows, one of the things that pumped the most at the end of the last bull run was Matic. Why? Because all the liquidity from this blockchain goes to this one, to this one, to this one, ends up in this one, and it all ended up in Matic, and Matic pumped to the moon beyond everybody's wildest expectations. I personally expect Pulsechain to do exactly that. Hex was one of the late bloomers. Now we have this chain, which I believe is going to be the late bloomers. And I pray to the universe that it's a late bloomer. I want it to be last. I want it to be so low that every single greedy investor out there that is wanting to look for the next last thing that they can extract liquidity out of can come into Pulsechain. And then once they're here, they can see, wow, actually, there's something completely different about this ecosystem. What's going on with these meme coins? What's actually going on with this scene? So it's yeah, it was for a lot of reasons. So yes, I'm sorry, Bay, but it was just one of those things where I just wanted to explore. I just wanted to see what I could learn from this. So with that, let's actually segue into Stew. So talking about meme coins, so I've got Stew here. So Stew is Stew is your token that you launched the other day. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with creating memes, what you learned, how you went about it? Because I know at the moment this is popping on the Pulsechain ecosystem.
Well, it's kind of funny because I wouldn't even really call Stu a meme. Okay, well,
Okay.
okay, so obviously, if we're gonna put it into a category, if you're gonna look it up on like Deck Screener or like Coinbase or whatever, or CoinGecko, and you would look up memes, it would probably be under there because the cartoon character, of course, right? But my thing behind it was to like I saw the disco contract, and there's a lot of other ideas I had, and it was just like, I saw, Sunny was literally coming out with an absolute like war chest of an ecosystem. Um, sorry, did I lose you there, Steve? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep,
Oh,
keep going.
perfect. Yeah, it was like literally like if you're not paying attention to that thing, like you're not paying attention to the Pulsechain. And literally, I was like, so people always say like, like, well, what have you done? And I was like, dang, like I kind of want to have like my footprint on the system, like at least do something. So, kind of in this day and age, at least in any sort of investment, it's like you want something that's going to last, or at least kind of give you something in return. Like why else are you going to hold the token? Like it doesn't make any sense. You may as well throw it into liquidity. Like, and this is why liquidity is another thing. I'm going to go over that in a little bit. But the thing I wanted to do with Stu is I kind of wanted to just bring light to a 414 coin that was kind of, hidden, right? Like the contract name of the coin is Disco. I tried to translate what that symbol was. Claude does not do me any favors. I was not able to find any sort of translation, but all I know is that it translates to disco, supposedly, but that's just the contract name. So it's kind of like, it's like a curiosity. It's like, okay, well, like, why buy Stew? Oh, where would you disco? So it's kind of like a play on name, you know what I mean? And that's easy to market, right? Like, so we call it a meme because we can just really throw a cartoon character behind it. Well, at the end of the day, like, I could have, a little knock on my door and, oh, hello there, you owe me some royalties from Mickey Mouse himself. But at the end of the day, I don't know who sent me the contract. It's just called Stu. Disco Stu is just the mascot. The contract's called Stu. You know what I mean? So there's this, at the end of the day, it's just called Stu. Disco Stu is just the mascot, and it's just a way to market it. At the end of the day, the coin itself is going to be paired to everything that's going to go up in the ecosystem, so it's going to keep going up. On top of that, the guy who owns the coin, me, I'm going to keep buying back. I've been very vocal in my community about saying, hey, I'm going to be doing buyback today. If you guys want to make some money for a quick trade, go ahead, because at the end of the day, the volume is what creates rewards. Because at the end of the day, people are going to want to hold a certain amount that makes them comfortable. But at what point do you stop selling? Because, like, I'm a really good trader, and I write that down every day that I'm one of the best traders. And what I'm going to keep doing is I'm going to keep putting money into Stu, regardless of if Stu does well or not. Stu is going to do well because it's tied to the ecosystem. So essentially, Stu is going to keep going up whether people buy it or not. If you sell out all your tokens, it's going to keep going up. I'm going to keep buying it back. I'm going to keep pairing it out. I got plans. I got people I'm talking to. The Telegram's silent. I'm old school. I'm not paying anyone to promote this. The coin's going to do well on its own, But at the end of the day, it's no different than, man, Almighty. That guy is an OG. That kid, he is going to be going places. Smart dude, very nice, very well spoken. He created Mike, and Mike is smart marketing. Why? Because at the end of the day, ink is green, Mike is green. You can literally meme Mike with anything. Mike's been a meme for ages, but it's also a staple. It's a staple in our society, and it's easy marketing. So like at the end of the day, like we call it memes, but man, they're beasts of their own. Like these things are going to be around forever. Like like we don't need anyone to buy it. Hart's Law is going to bring up the price, and that's it, man. You got good people in this eco that really want to build on their coins, and you know what? At the end of this episode, I got a list of people I'm going to shout out. But let's keep moving along. So I kind of want to go on and say, like, you wanted to talk about what it is to build a meme and all this. So when I kind of was going on about saying, hey, this isn't a meme, I don't think people should build memes. You have to build
Mm.
something that is actually going to be beneficial or actually going to bring attention to some sort of part of the ecosystem. Excuse me. Oh, I got to cough one more time. It's like
So just while you're
Sunny's.
coughing,
Oh,
can I
go.
just clarify something
Yep.
there
Go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
the meme? So meme is what people will call it, but I'm totally in alignment with you. So even when I look at all the tokens that I look at within the Atropa ecosystem, for example, they'd be classified as memes, but anything like they're just altcoins slash memes. But I don't, for me, this is like it's a new class of token. It's something else. It's like let's say it's some kind of ETF, some kind of intelligent investment, but it's also kind of a meme. It's really something completely unique. So I really want to emphasize that as well. So, and also, I mean, PLS Pup, here's another one that I want to shout out as well that follows this same characteristic. So I mean, look at this chart, man, for goodness sakes.
Hey, he's got that dog in him, bro. That guy. He's got that dog in him.
Oh, he's got that roar in him, but he's steady. He's steady in nature. That's the main thing about him.
I wouldn't be surprised if I ever met him. He would be like a real life, like, Brian Griffin, the Family Guy, talking dog.
Oh. Yeah,
Nah,
sorry,
this
man.
guy's
So go on with what you were
no,
going
no.
to.
I just like because the problem with like building memes is like you said they don't last. And when I say memory of a goldfish, it's like you have to make the trade, you win the trade, lose the trade, move on. And I mean, obviously, some charts can do better than the others, but you have to kind of pay attention to that. You cannot buy a meme nowadays and walk away from your computer or walk away from your phone or chart. Like if you're buying a meme, like and you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna buy this because so and so posted it, and I'm gonna walk away because I think it's gonna go up. Hey, you know what, man? I'll give you my wall. You may as well just send it to me, or you know what? Buy some stew. At least I can tell you that's gonna go up. You know, I'll put my own. I'm putting my own money into that thing constantly. I think I even told my community. I said, hey, I'm gonna be doing some buybacks probably during the show, which I've been doing. So I said, hey, you guys want some free money? Go ahead because we just want the volume.
So when you talk about wanting the volume, let's go into that a little bit. So because you talk about being a volume trader, what does that mean? How does that apply to Stu, and how's that going to help it grow?
Well, I say it in the sense of like volume because that's how you kind of trade charts because the more volume coming in means more people are buying. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially that goes up. So when I attach something that has volume to it, that means something's going to go through Stu to buy something else. So the more transaction that Stu goes through, people are literally rewarded every single transaction, or like 2% disco rewards on every transaction. So that's going to build up over time, right? And then like we talk about small corners of the ecosystem, like you know Stu's at or no, sorry, not Stu, Disco's. Oh, now it's at 100K market cap. Like since the injection of Stu, I brought it from $675 to about 1,000. So that's just over 33%. On top of that, there's a token, an NFT, a PGBA 404, which is a replica of a Pokemon Game Boy game NFT. So there's an airdrop that happened, and no one knows who this guy is. So you can actually play the like 5 old school Pokemon Game Boy games on some of the like the Pulse app marketplace websites. And like I haven't had a chance, but supposedly you can save it, this and that. I'm old school dude, so I'm nostalgic. You got kids, you want to show your kids a slice of history, that's cool. But you know what the best part about this is that was an airdrop, and I put a value to this airdrop. I put my own money up. I attached it to a bunch of things. I burned all the liquidities, and then I attached it to Stu as one of its main pair to give people free money, essentially. So these guys that have this airdrop is free money into the whole ecosystem. I mean, if you look at PGBA 404 now, you're going to see liquidity dried up because a lot of it's been pulled in the Stu because it's a lot of people getting free airdrop. But look past the money, that's now free tokens that people have been getting for free now into the eco. So now we can actually start buying back these PGBA 404s and actually start putting them in liquidity to increase the price of that. So it's kind of like it was kind of my way of getting those free tokens out of everyone's wallet, but it was also a way to say, hey, like, you know what, like, let's see what happens, because a lot of this is kind of experimental for me. But at the end of the day, like, dude, I'm a giver. You know, like, I have no problem giving a couple bucks away here and there, like doing that. Like I said, I want to be a part of this ecosystem or a staple where it's like, hey, like, you know, a reputation is worth more money than anything. Like I don't care how much money you make, your reputation is more than anything, and that goes a long way in crypto and how you invest your money. Because right now, like I tell you right now, there's a couple guys that say, "Hey, buy this," I'd be in a heartbeat, boom, done. Right? You know what I mean?
Totally.
But obviously, not buy it and walk away and hope that it does like 100x. But no, you have to pay attention to the charts. I think, like, you see it yourself, like Pulsechain is so quick because there's not a lot of people on it. So that's kind of like the thing is, you know, we're it's player versus player right now. We need to get more people over here. You know.
Totally. Yeah, well, we already are nurturing an atmosphere where it's PvE as well, though. That's the thing. So all of crypto's PvP, where we're killing each other, but we're nurturing an environment where it's all of us versus the environment. So PvE, and we're against the fiat system. We're going to create our own stable coins. My conviction in this actually happening increases on a daily basis. Plus, we're getting these communities where people are creating tokens where everybody can win. We don't need to sell down the chart to win. We can just keep holding, or we can create liquidity. We can keep burning liquidity and bonding liquidity, and everything's just going to keep moving up without anyone even having to buy. Like, I think, oh man, I'm just so forever just more and more bullish on this chain. Honestly speaking, when it first launched, I was like, oh, everyone's talking about it being the #1 chain. I'm like, come on, guys, let's be serious here for a minute. But as I keep researching, as I keep diving deep into what's actually happening under the hood, I think it's a very strong possibility. I think it's a very, very strong possibility.
Dude, you know what? Like, and this is the thing, like, a lot of it's being brought to light that, like, hey, like, PDI. Like, everyone forgets, like, we need everything. One coin going to $1 is not going to float the whole shit, man. Like, listen, okay, you know, let's have some fun here. If Moses did Moses invite one animal on the boat?
Oh, bro, yeah, you don't
You
have to
know?
convince me on this one. I'm 100% with
Right?
you. And even on that, it's P stables. It's not just P die. Everyone's loving P die. You can see that in the ratios with the other P stables, but it's actually about all of them. But it's actually about the whole ecosystem on Pulsechain. It's about you coming to this chain and doing whatever the hell you want. You should have that choice. It's a city.
Well, and you know what? And that's kind of what we need to do. And like I know everyone's against the PRC20 bring something over here. Why would we this and that?
Bro, the only ones who are against it are the
Dude,
maxis.
I don't know about you, but like I literally so when I first launched STU, like I didn't want to use the money I had on the east side. I wanted to actually take profit of something else I had and then bridge that over. And it was like it cost me like, you know, like I think $65 to pull it out US, and I'm like what? Like what is this? You know, and it's just like
it's absurd.
You kind of see the writing on the wall, dude. It's no different than what made me really believe in crypto is I had to go to the bank because I remember I wanted to buy something, and the crypto account needed euros, and I didn't really know how to trade yet. So I was like, damn. I was like, I gotta obviously convert something to euros, send euros over to this account, and I can buy this and send it to my wallet. Not knowing I could literally just buy USDT and then send it over to this account. So in a matter of something that was going to take me 3 days to do, it literally took me 5 minutes. And I literally sat there and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, banks are done. I'm like, this whole you know, middleman shit, I'm like, this is done. I'm like right there. I'm like, yeah, it's over. Like, you got to send money to somewhere half across or some way. Sorry, stuttering all over the place. If you have to send money to someone to holy shit, I can't talk right now. You get what I'm saying? If I have to send money to someone on the other side of the world, then it literally takes me seconds to do it. If I have to go to the bank, well, then oh man, like God, I may as well bring my, my driver's license and my, my third grade project as well.
I know, right? So,
But sorry,
Stu,
go ahead. Sorry, I keep rambling. Go ahead, Stevie.
I would be very interested in the process of creating a token. So let's not call it a meme. So would you be able to take us through step by step of what you did to create this token, what your thought processes were around this token, and how you went about doing it?
Well, you know what? Like it's kind of simple. So, like obviously, I've chosen not to show like who I am, but I will explain a little bit on what I do. So, I'm an industrial electrician by trade. So I literally, I fix robots. I fix multi-million-dollar equipment. You're pretty much thrown to the wolves and said, "Hey, figure it out and do it yourself." So, if this is kind of like the same thing where you kind of have to look at every possible angle and things where it's just like, hey, if I'm going to make this, it has to make sense. Something has to make sense. And kind of where I go back into like, dang it. Like it has to be worth something. Like you can't just put a name on something and people buy it and then you're like, okay, well, what does this token do? Or what is the dev going to do? Or, at least if something's happening or there's a plan or something like that, that people actually want to buy your product. So I kind of just, things happen quick. I was just kind of actually reaching out to someone to actually donate them one of those PGVA 404 NFTs. And we kind of just got in the conversation, and I don't know how to code, but this person does. And it was like, I wanted to do this. And next thing I was like, yeah, it wouldn't take me long. And then from there, it just kind of exploded and, it happened quickly. Right. Hence why maybe some of the socials on STU aren't the greatest because everything had to be done quickly, just so I can at least make it seem like it was somewhat legit. But so you got to think about it. So like STU was easy because what would you associate disc with? Like if you were to I'm actually going to ask you this right now. So off the bat, let's pull up a Maria token here. So like if I were to say the token that's attached to leprosy called Cletus. I know it's named something else, but the name is Cletus. What would you do with that?
I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Right? The first thing that goes to my mind, and obviously, obviously it's Simpson. Cletus from The Simpsons. Done.
Same.
There you go. There's your meme. You throw a face on it, and someone just buys a bunch of it, and next thing you know, they just have to make it their own. So the best way for me to make disco my own was to actually reward it. And I just kind of seen that I was like, you know what? It happened so quick that it was like I had this on my mind. I thought Stu was kind of a cool playoff of the fact that the username I use, purely coincidental because I had a couple other ideas. But I also like the fact that it was strongly attached to a lot of things in the Atropa eco. So we're going back to Atropa here. And disco, it's okay, so we talked about what it's attached to. Its main pairing is host. Well, Maria mentioned that in her game that if you want superpowers, then the people that hold a certain amount of host will get first dibs on the superpower. Well, hey, I just gave you a free reward to get superpowers if that's the case. Also, host is highly paired to TSFI. Very undervalued right now and probably hasn't been this low since September. There's also, I don't have the name of this one right now, but this one is actually connected to James Cook, which is also heavily connected to EHEX and BFF. So if your reward build up over time, I essentially give you free money to actually go and get these things for free. On top of that, like I said, if I'm a good enough trader, if I really think I know what the fuck I'm doing, which I know I am, then I'm going to keep buying up my charts. I'm going to keep telling my community, listen, you guys keep dipping, I'll keep buying it. Dev Wall is going to keep LPing. Like I said, Stu has plans. I actually want people to use STU to ratio trade Disco to buy other things. So as STU goes up, sell some of your STU to trade out into the Atropa ecosystem. Because on top of that, there's another symbol that takes you to writing, and writing takes you to, like, here, I got the list, takes you back to Treasury Bill, takes you to Atropa, takes you to Teddy, Teddy 9, PhD, takes you to the HAR, takes you to the Zoo. Like, and then even, the one I always preached, Treasury Bill, which is actually the fourth pairing, is directly tied to Teddy. So free Teddy right there, on top of like buying some bear R rewards. Like there's free money to be made in this ecosystem, and you just got to hold a couple tokens to kind of make it. Like don't put the farm out. Like it's kind of like when people say, hey, you don't want to put like a full clip into a meme. Like that's how you lose your money, and that's how that's emotional trading. Put a couple bucks in, and then listen, if things do like a 3 or 4x, like take a little bit of profit. Like stop thinking about the dollar value. Like listen, you put $5 in, it does like a 3x, and you got $20. Like stop thinking about it being like $2,000 or $200. Like just build that up slowly. There's a saying: if you can learn to do a lot with a little, you can do a lot. Oh, dang it! Here, I gotta find it. I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Here it is. When you can learn to do more with less, you will then be able to do less and get more.
Mm.
And that is literally the perfect example of farming. So if you find the right kind of farm that is legit, and I'll name a couple. And actually, let's have some fun here because I want to do a couple shout outs just before you keep going. I'm sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
Obviously, Pulsechain V1 farm. All those, ignore the percentages, ignore everything. You're going to have to do the work yourself, but that's one of the best ones. Kaimato Dev, completely underrated. That guy has done so much for the eco that people don't realize. On top of that, there's Finfire. I know Jesus has something brewing. Finvesta's got something brewing. On top of that, OneSwap, man, like they got some shit going on. I'm not in Headhunters, but I know Headhunters got some good farming stuff going too. But this is how you started, like a couple bucks a day, a couple dollars a day. Just buy this, put it back in, buy this, put it back in, buy this, put it back in. Because if you're not a trader, that's your best option. It's literally just keep compounding. Just keep buying LPs that matter. And then when it comes to LPs, actually here, you know what? I'm going to keep rambling. Steve, where do you want to go next, my friend?
No, you keep going with LPs, man. I'll let you go with the flow. Keep going, yeah.
Okay. So then, you know what? Let's go a step further. So the biggest thing that people don't understand is that we have to make Pulsechain look sexy from the inside. Like like you said, it P versus E right now. Everyone's fighting right now for the top coin. This, that, I want this. This is better. Ours is better. It's like, man, like we should be packing up these from ETH pairs. Like we talk about liquidities. Like we want people to come over and bridge their tokens and then dump their tokens in liquidities for other things, because then that is actually now free tokens in our liquidities. And like so this is actually a good example, because people will be like, well, why do I want to put money in the DAI, the EDAI, PDAI? Because when it goes to $1, I'm going to lose money. So well, like nothing's going to go straight up. Everything oscillates. You look at a chart right now, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. You look at a stable 1-to-1, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So there's always going to be oscillation between your charts. So yeah, you might get impermanent loss, but eventually, if eventually you get to the point of things being a 1-to-1, well, then you're going to end up with a whole shitload of EDAI, which is already $1. Like it's just one of those things that like people think everything's just going to go up to $1 and that's it. Just stop. Like, no, that's not the case, because you're going to have people that are always going to be buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. And And that's kind of what people forget is they don't look at the bigger picture. They just think of the now. They think of like, how can I get rich now? Like, it's just, this is why we call it delayed gratification. And you know
Mm.
what? You know what? If I had the chance to meet Maria, I would shake his fucking hand. I
Me
would give him
too.
like, and you know what? Like I'm not the type of person. I'm not like starstruck. Like I met a couple people that
Respect.
like that. You know, like people would be like fucking starstruck to have beers with and shit like that. But like, man, these are just people, this and that. But like, there's some people you just appreciate what they do in the world. And this guy, I would shake his hand and be like, listen, like, you know what? Buy you fucking steak dinner, man. Let's go.
Yeah, man, it's respect. I totally agree. I'm also of the same opinion. I don't like to. I also think it makes people feel uncomfortable if you act all starstruck around them. You're really emitting like this, just yeah, weird vibe. But it's respect. You can definitely respect people and show your gratitude, and I would certainly do that with Maria. So, um, ah, one thing that I wanted to, one thing that I let's just take a step back. Well, actually, first, just before we take a step back, just on the P stables thing as well, something that people are really not considering. So when we have tokens that pump, and then I sell it out into other assets, the token that's pumped is going to dump, and it's going to pump the other thing that I've sold it out into. If the P stables peg, and again, the P stables, everybody's so focused on PDI, which is good. PDI is pumping, but we have PUSDC, PUSDT, PUSDP, and PFRAX. So nobody's focused on these things. If you look at the ratios here, this is PUSDC to PDI. That means you're getting a premium. So at the moment, if you bought PU, so let's just have a look here. So PUSDC is 0.0025. So is this against? Actually, I'll put it just to Pulsechain, just so it makes it like nice and easy to understand. I mean, it's probably just as easy on dollar values. So per 23, so 23 for one and 33 for one. So it's like, what's that? That's like 30% cheaper for PUSDC. So you're going to get 30% more, 30 to 40% more tokens just for PUSDC. And this is also bound with the MakerDAO vault. This is put in there with collateral, just so people are aware. So I think Maria always talks about P stables, not PDI. Always talks about P stables. It's only the market that keeps talking about PDI. And again, the whole point of what I was trying to say is if these can get to $1 and they stay at $1, these are things that aren't dumping, which can then flow out into the market, and it's going to be backed with collateral, and those tokens are going to say stable. So it's actually going to be like it's when a rocket takes off, it's got its first launch, and then the stage one detaches, and then it goes into stage two, and then the stage two takes off. For me, if we get to $1, stage one is getting this thing to $1 and the whole ecosystem pumps in the euphoria. Then stage two is all this money here that's now stabilized, that's not going to drop, is going to be pumping into the rest of the ecosystem. So it's like, man, we're so blessed, but people don't see how blessed we are. People are too focused on the charts and oh, look at Hex is down, and look, I'm a Hex holder. I'm a day one Hex. That's what got me into Pulsechain. My biggest holdings is Hex and Pulsechain. But I want to see, I keep an open mind and adapt with the flow of the world. And I'm seeing things. And instead of having a narrow mind and a negative mind and saying, why is my thing not pumping? I want to actually see what the opportunities are, because the world is actually giving us these opportunities. So with a grateful heart and a grateful mind, you can see it, you can accept it. So what I wanted to do, Stu, is I wanted to just take a step back. So let's go back into the process of how to actually create a token and the thinking that went behind it. So you started off by saying that it has to have some kind of intrinsic value to the market. That was your first thing. So Stu was something where people can connect with it. What's kind of stage two for you?
Well, it was just like I said, so, like I said, we talk about memes, and you know, I'm just one person trying to get this off the ground. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's just like I just wanted to do my part for the 414 eco. So a lot of it kind of said, hey, what can I market easier? What can people be, drawn to easier? What can people relate to? Well, like anyone who's older than I am, well, I remember sitting in front of the TV come 9 o'clock on a Sunday and a new episode of The Simpsons is coming out, and just like, Disco Stu's not like like a massive character, but he's a part of The Simpsons, and everyone who watched The Simpsons might have an idea who he is, but it's simple. It's simple. Like, listen, like, put it this way: if I had STU and there was an Atropa token called Little, I'm pretty sure the token would just be called STU, and you'd be getting Little, and I made well just have Stuart Little as the icon. You know what I mean? It's actually, you know what? Here, let's have fun with someone. I swear to God, if someone butchers this and they take this idea and you absolutely ruin this, I'll kill you. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. It's like Pope. Have a Pope token. What does it earn you? Leprosy. Done. Why is that wild? Well, Jesus actually cured leprosy. Listen, you might have the Vatican knocking at your door, but that's not my problem. But like, it's easy, it's simple, it's something. It's so stupid it makes sense, but it has a purpose because now you're actually buying something that if it does create volume, you're going to get rewarded something else. You know what I mean?
Which token did you say? Pulp?
Pope, like no, like POPE, like there is a Jesus, there is a Jesus token already, but if someone were to actually like, so you have to just make it make sense. Like it's so simple that like if like it's like put it this way, it's like the Apple logo. It's like you see the Apple logo. Well, it really looks like an apple, so you're gonna look at it and say, "Oh, Apple product, done." Like it's simple as well, it's STU. Oh, it's got a picture of Disco STU. Oh, well, what's that get me? Oh, reward code Disco. Well, it just makes sense. It's easy. It takes you like a couple of seconds to put it together, and that's it. No anything crazy about it. You know what I mean? Just simple. And people make things complicated. Well, dude, it's like the HOA guys made a pair. That's that's probably one of my favorite videos is Rick Ross saying I love pairs. So it was hilarious when he came out with that, and like that's something that's cool. I mean, you know, like let's see what it does. But I popped in that group for a second, and they were preaching liquidity. So like, you know what? At least they're not dumping on their community. They're trying to help their guys out. Like they're trying to preach and teach them something. You know, and that's the thing. It's just like you kind of have to just find what works for you, and that's it in this game.
Okay.
And I hope that kind of listen. I kind of rambled on. I hope that kind of answered your question. How did make a token, dude? Not a lot went into it. I kind of copied the tokenomics off of something that worked, and I said, you know what? I kind of want to just bring value to something like I airdrop to people because like I said, if reputation matters, put it this way: if I'm giving money away for free, and I'm telling my community to buy my token, because eventually, if I keep making good trades, I'm going to keep putting money into this thing, and you guys get free money just by buying the bottom, and you can trade out. Well, you know, like I don't know what to call that. It's essentially everyone just waiting for Richard Hart to put sack money, and it's no different. I ain't comparing to that. Like I got like maybe a couple $100 compared to a couple $100 million, you know. His debt wallet's a lot bigger than mine, but like at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, the theory is the same. It's just essentially, you know, I just want to be a person that people say, like, you know what, if he promotes something or what, he's a good guy. Listen, like I don't give a shit if I make, you know, 100 million or $1 million. Like I'm gonna live my best life, and I know that now. Doesn't matter what happens, you know. Beautiful. And that's just kind of with the whole positive thing. Is like it doesn't matter what happens at this point. Like I know that I'm happy, and the decisions I make are going to be best beneficial to me. And you know what? I'm actually going to go a step further. So we talk about things that happen for a reason. Before I went to bed the one night, I popped into the STU thing. Next thing you know, Pulse Bubbles were popping up, and they had the vote going on for who was going to be the next one on Pulse Bubbles. STU got voted, and I had no idea it was that close of a vote. So when you talk about the universe being in your favor, that's what happens, man. So,
man, yeah. Like when I talk about those things, and even when you talk about those things, I think people kind of look at it as like or maybe not this audience. I think the audience that has been attracted to my channel is probably very much of that same mindset. But if you kind of hear that, people think it's kind of some airy fairy, wishy washy thing. But I'm actually talking about it like scientifically speaking, that's literally how the mind of the universe actually works. It's not some like, oh, feel good philosophy, think positive. It's actually like legitimately, scientifically, verifiably 100% true. It actually works like that. If you put out good energy comes back to you, because the universe is just energy. So everything is just vibration. Everything is just energy and light. So it comes back to you. It's not some wishy-washy thing. It's like it's quantum mechanics. It's scientific. It's like it's logical. So that's why I love it. But on the logic, so let's continue with this for just a moment. So I've got some points here, but even more like the very pragmatically, what actually, like, what are the steps to actually create the token? So I've got here, have something with intrinsic value. So I've also put mindset things here. So a dedicated dev committed to growing the community, a giving mindset. I want to put that in there because I think it should, like, if you're not even as a giver, don't even bother following this channel. I don't want you here. Look at tokenomics from something that works. Create an airdrop which gives free money. But then what about the actual? Okay, so then, all right. So you've got that. Where am I going? Am I contacting a dev to make the contract for me?
I got you. I got you. You know what's funny? You always listen. Like, so how it happened for me is actually started from the dev up. Like I said, I just happened to go to a person that obviously I trust. Conversation got quick, led to someone else who, you know, does reward contracts very well. And then, you know what? And it just kind of exploded from there. And it happened quick, man. You have an idea, you do this, you do that. But so when I say quick, I'm kind of going to go over it. So, like I said, tokenomics, this and that. I actually had a plan written down on the LPs I wanted to put down and what I wanted to put in. So I actually had, like, you need a plan. You know what I mean? And maybe the math wasn't the greatest, but like I said, a lot of it was experimental. So I know Maria was saying, what type of fucking math is this in the group? I don't know if she was directed at Stu, but like maybe it was. So I kind of got a chuckle at that. But so, okay, so then we talked about that. So then obviously a logo. Things happen quick. I didn't really have anything to do, so I had to find just something that I could find that really looked good. I found something.
Just for the record as well, man. Sorry to interrupt with the logo and everything like this. I heard Moon King talking about this. I think just be careful with cease and desists, and same as Mike. So he was talking about that with Mike. So just be careful with that. It might be something where you might want to do like an AI version of it or something with some sort of alteration. I'm actually happy to help you with that. I've got Mid-Journey, but yeah, just to avoid any cease and desists in the future.
Oh man, and you know what? This is kind of the funny thing about all that too, right? Like at any point, like this could just pivot and just like I said, the token named Stu. I changed my name in the Telegram back to Stu into the Disco Stu, and we're just a Stu token that literally is just giving you Disco reward. And okay, well, what about the Disco contract? Well, I don't know about you, but if you can translate for that for me, and if it says Disco, then please go ahead. Give me a season assist because I don't know what the hell that is. And you know what? Like, do you want me to pull liquidity? I can't. It's all burnt. Do you want me to, stop the contract? I don't even know who fucking gave it to me. You know what I mean? So we talk about making something, dude. It's no different than the PGA 404 NFTs. Like, probably not the greatest things. Like, I'm pretty sure having a Pokemon game is highly illegal, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know who fucking did it. The guy airdropped it. I put a price tag on it. I attached it to the ecosystem. I burned the LPs, and eventually, that's probably going to be the most expensive game in the world. Which is kind of funny in hindsight. But at the end of the day, it's just like it's no different than the trademark contracts that are made. No one knows who gives who what, and just this is why Maria says, "Hey, someone make this contract, give it to me because I don't know who the hell you are. We're just usernames. We're just this and that. Like, this is why we." And obviously, there is cease and desist and stuff like that. But like, dude, worry about that when we come. But by the time Mickey Mouse comes knocking on my door, I'm probably not going to be at this house. You know,
I like that. Good,
right,
good stuff.
right, like so. Season desist. Like, oh, like they're gonna come for fuck, buddy. No one's coming for fucking Mike. You kidding me? Mike's going nowhere but up. Disney friends, look out for Disney friends. But as much as I can give you there, and we man, respect to what he did. Almighty, guy's gonna keep chugging along. Doesn't matter FUD or no FUD. We keep moving and we keep moving forward in crypto. We keep moving forward in Pulsechain. Our LPs love it when we move sideways, but positively in our mindsets, we want to move forward, my friend.
100%, man. So after you've created the logo, did you approach a dev to create the contract for you? What was the next step?
No, actually, it was the other way around. So it was contract, idea, contract launched, and then it was just kind of like I had the Telegram and the Twitter made just a couple tweets, this and that. Like I said, I don't, I kind of want to keep it simple, man. Like it's, don't want to pay callers and stuff like that. Get the wrong type of attention. Yeah, sure, I would love the volume, but like, do I want to fork out money for someone to pump it up? No, I'd rather tell people to buy the chart, I'll pump it up, and then they can sell. And then at least the people I know that bought my coins is making money, and they say, "Hey, thank you." You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's kind of like I'd rather the right people making their money. And listen, you're hanging around on the STU Telegram. I'm literally completely open about what the dev wallet's doing, and then, hey, I make a couple good trades, man. But maybe a little bit of my profit is going to be rolling in the STU. That's how it's always going to be. And, like, obviously now STU's my token. You don't think that I'm going to be looking out for it. I'm going to be trying to pair it to the right things. I'm going to be doing the right things. So just saying, man, I got plans for this. I know what I'm doing, and I know people fade rewards tokens, but at the end of the day, like, Bria's got a plan for the disco.
So can I just elaborate? Because Steady Pup was talking about this as well with PLS Pup. And I mean, even with Sunny, I have full confidence in these guys where I'm actually, in a way, I'm investing in the token, but I'm also investing in the dev behind it and the intelligence of the dev behind it. And I can tell that you actually know what you're talking about. You actually know how to trade. You're going to support this ecosystem. You're not going to rug it. It's going to keep growing because of the fact that you're going to keep putting liquidity into it. What are some of the strategies that you would be doing along the way to, like, some of the liquidity strategies? So, for example, if you're seeing, let's just say, PLS Pup has a big pump, are you going to then go, all right, I don't have any liquidity bonded with PLS Pup, but I'm going to wait for a dip first, and then I'm going to bond the token, or am I going to get it while it's pumping up? Like, what's your strategies around that to actually help your token grow?
Well, see, so that's the thing. Like, so if I have the dev wallet, that'll never actually trade anything. The only thing that'll ever actually hold is either things that I'm going to do for buybacks, and then make those for LPs, and then depending on how high things go, burn a portion of those LPs, because I do want control of the liquidity pools at this point to be able to put money back in to pump the chart back up. And then obviously it's just a cycle and rotate. So as the higher we go, the thicker liquidities are going to get, and the thicker I'm going to make sure they get. And then
So you're
obviously the more volume and the more volume there is, the higher our price goes. Well, then now I can actually branch out and start buying things that are heavily tied to the ecosystem, more volatile, more up and down. Because at the end of the day, like, like, dude, at some points, like, I'll go to a coin, maybe even say, hey, like, you guys can use me as exit liquidity. I've done that, and then no one's done a thing. I'm the only one that's actually trading out on that pair. So I said, okay, well, when things go haywire and actually everything goes down, I said, I'm going to pull this. And I've been open to the group about what I've been doing, because at the end of the day, I've just been pumping up their rewards. I've been pumping up their liquidity. I've been pumping up their coin. I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing. It's just, It's just, I don't know. It's transparency. It's just I'm literally just giving you a reward token that the devs literally say, hey, listen, I'm going to keep putting money back to this thing. There's going to be volume. I'll create volume, even if it's not there, and I'll make sure it is there. And I'm going to keep pairing out like this, like late last night. Really, really well-renowned guy in the pub decided to release beautiful token called Fly. And I'm pretty sure if you look in the pub, you look up Fly, well, you'll find out that it's doing quite well. But I paired the Fly because friend of the pub. But it was also something I had kind of just got in early, so the price went up, and it was like, hey, perfect time to pair the STU. But there's going to come a time where STU is actually going to be in value, and I can actually use some of that to branch out to buy and pair us with more things. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I could do that now, but like, why would I do that just to keep the force stable where it is now? I'm just going to keep buying it to keep making it go higher, and I'll keep doing that. And then, hey, maybe I'll pack liquidities, maybe I'll burn tokens. I don't know. I'll reach out to a couple people and see what some options are. But like, hey, man, this is going to be my gift to you guys, and I just hope that, some people are along for the ride. And hey, Steve, I appreciate what you do for the eco, man, and you're awesome. So I keep rambling on and on and on. You got anything else for me, my friend?
That's all good, man. I appreciate that comment. So, in terms of launching the token, where do you actually go to launch the token?
Oh, dude, okay. So, have you paid attention to any how the Mesh Lab and the Rewarder token were launched? Is
Okay, yep, go on. I haven't.
Is what's it called? The liquidities were made prior to, and then
Yes.
and then the function was made to actually trade, and that's what I wanted. So I wanted people to actually see what they needed beforehand to get this. So that's kind of the way we went. By the way, before anyone just starts reaching out and said, gentlemen, you better have your money out because he ain't doing it for fucking free. Okay? Because I don't want anyone flooding his fucking DMs, and I ain't giving him his name. But, you better be ready to pay. Because that's no. And I'm only saying that because, you know what, I don't want this to be some sort of thing where it's like everyone just launches but listen, STU is just a name. It just happens to work. It just happens to be associated with my name. It's not a meme based off of myself. You know what I mean? It's coincidence. So I guess what I just don't want is people saying, hey, can you? It's, you know what I mean? I don't want people asking for handouts. What I'm saying is, it's like, hey, listen, if you're going to be asking someone for a favor, you better be, you better have, something to offer someone. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
That is it. That is it. But at the end of the day, so that's how I did it. And dude, it just happened so quick, Steve. It was literally, I was like, let's do this. Boom. Okay, let's do this. Boom. Tell me when. Do you have the socials ready? Yep. Okay. And it happened quick, but I also had a plan already for what I wanted to do. So I made it happen quick. And then I updated Death Screener right away. And I said, here, done. Go have fun. And community did what it wanted to do. And since then, I've just been buying back, man.
Okay. Nice, man. So that's a good little process there. So what about the capital behind it, if you don't mind me asking? What do you think is a minimum? If somebody wanted to do this and they wanted to also contribute to the ecosystem and create something like these kinds of tokens, how much capital behind you would you need?
So this is kind of the funny thing. So there's kind of like a double thing to this. So obviously more liquidity attracts more investors to put higher amounts in. People don't want to get burned on liquidity, but lower liquidity also creates volatility, which creates, more volume in a pair. So Pulse pairs for a lot of things are created with low liquidity by design to actually pump up the volume and the arbitrage. So liquidity providers actually win there. So essentially, like, if you're a liquidity provider, a STU and a WPLS pair, I know you're not going to get the reward, but because it's probably in liquidity. But like, if I'm going to be running everything through that, well then, like, what are we at here? 2.6K volume, and we're not really moving too much, obviously, because just the state of eco. So that's only at 3.4K liquidity. So I think when I first launched, we were at like 1.5, and we were at like 34K volume, and which is absolutely stupid. And I'm pretty sure I was the only liquidity provider, but I burnt that. So I burnt everything I actually put into this thing. So it was my way of saying, hey, like this is not going to get rugged. Go have fun with it. We're not going anywhere.
So you burnt 100% of the supply.
I burnt 100% of the supply. Anything I add now or anything I took out now, I've been open about. So as a matter of fact, speaking of when I got the pulse bubble thing, and shout out the pulse bubbles, the guy's fucking G, whatever he's building there, completely unreal. We love it. I know the whole eco supports them. Just wanted to give him a little shout out. But when I won that poll, it was kind of like, you know what? I said, going to pump up the chart. And I knew I had, like, I guess we'll call it a war chest. And I even told the community, I said, hey, I'm going to do buyback. So I did a bunch of buybacks. I think we got up to 2 cents. And obviously, price went back down to about 1 cent. But I bought about maybe 2/3 of what I had for each liquidity. Not all of them, maybe like 3 or 4 of them. And then the rest I actually put in liquidity. And then people actually sold that on the way down. So mathematically, I actually gained more because you actually gain more on the way down when you sell the liquidity. So then I actually pulled those liquidities, even though they're very thin, they're maybe only like 10 to 15%. I've actually put the rest back into the chart right now during this whole convo. So even though they're a little thinner, maybe by 10% per, I actually got more STU back for cheaper. And, well, like I said, Dev's got plans. And, I'll keep putting money into this thing. It goes higher. We branch out. We get thicker liquidities. I'll give you guys another path to give your rewards. Like, hey, man, I'm here for the community. I want everyone to win. I'm sick of everyone fucking losing.
I'm with you, man.
And that's the whole thing about the pub. Like, we're just trying to teach the little things. Don't be greedy. Don't ape little things. Like, just sometimes the best questions to ask are no questions at all, and just kind of sit back and just see what everyone is saying and just adapt. You just kind of want to, I don't know, you want to soak it. It's sometimes they say the wise man is the one that doesn't say anything. You know what I mean?
100%. And that's been one of the most beautiful things about the pub, actually finding like a collective of like-minded people, because even when I started talking about these things, when you get on YouTube and you make a channel, people think that you just want to pump your bags. And I was very delicate about that because it's not something that I want to do. So I also deliberately talk about things that I don't own. But naturally, you end up talking about the things that you do own because you have an interest in them. That's the reason why you bought them in the first place. So to go to somewhere where everybody has this giving mindset, because that's what I want to share with the world the most. And when I started learning about LPing, when I started learning about Atropa and what does it mean to LP, I was kind of like trying to put the pieces together, and I'm still putting the pieces together, and I'm seeing, hang on a minute, if we all just participate in this game of liquidity providing, we don't need to compete against each other. We can all just like ride this wave together, and we're basically just creating this like this pool of infinite money that goes up, and we just keep we can just keep plugging into it, and it will just keep going up. We keep plugging into it and keeps going up, and it will just keep growing and growing and growing. And in that way, everybody wins. Like, quote unquote, the downside is there's not necessarily any like get rich quick. So it's not like, meme coins where you can chuck your money in and within the space of a day you can have like a 50x. You might not get something like that, but this is more long term, it's more sustainable, and it's more easier on your mindset. You can go to sleep at night without having to worry about your position. You're just generating yields on your liquidity. And that's the kind of thing that I really want to promote as well. And that's something where I think, it's really part of Richard's dream as well. It's, he talks a lot about these kinds of things and long-term mindset, delayed gratification. So I think the fact that those things can actually be nurtured on this system is a really wonderful thing.
Hey, my friend, I'll say it again. Your reputation is worth more than any amount of money.
Oh man, yeah.
And in
Totally.
crypto, and in this space, and you know what? Like, been in this space for a while. Like I said, we don't have call groups, whatever. But there's a lot of us that are very well invested in this space, and we see who's building, we see who's not, we see who's out to scam people, we see who's in it for themselves, who's in it for others. And I mean, obviously we're all in it for ourselves in a mute. Let's not kid ourselves. We're all here to make money. But at the end of the day, it's like, listen, I have screamed to my friends about buying fucking Pulsechain. And just little things just like that. And unfortunately, they say scream harder, and I'm going to try. I hope they hear this interview. I'm going to post it in our little WhatsApp group, and I say, hey guys, listen up, But the whole thing is just like, why not let the people that are already here win? We're already early enough. Let's win right now together. Let's set ourselves all up. And I know it's not as easy as it sounds. It's just it's crypto. It's the market. It's how it is. But maybe our common goal is to let's not do a P versus E in here. Let's try to steal the money from everywhere else. You know what I mean? Let's bulk up the LPs so that people will say, hey, I want to put my link over here because I only have to trade a couple of cents to make my money back and then trade back versus, paying like a couple $100 to do a transaction. Like, link's pretty thick LP over here, but we have to make it sexy for people on the outside. And then when they come over, they bridge the tokens over, they dump them, they say, hey, we want Pulse, we want this, we want Ink, we want that. Well, the guys who set their LPs at $5, $10, $20, $200, $1,000, those are the people that are going to win when this does become fully adoptional. Because you know what, man? Ain't no one paying $500 cash. You want to go for a fucking road trip right now? You got to hop in your car. If someone says, hey, you got to pay $500 gas, you really think you're going on that road trip? Why would it be any different in crypto?
Totally. People are going to see it, man. People are going to see it. So they're really going to wake up to it. And the alternatives are L2s. But again, the L2s are garbage. They've got garbage tokens, garbage communities, garbage ecosystems. They're going to see it. They're going to wake up to what Pulsechain is.
But you know what, though? Those tokens and those communities, they still have value and they still have liquidities and they still have each tied to those pools. Buddy, we're sitting here fighting amongst ourselves with fucking sticks and stones when there's a couple of us that are, inventing the wheel all over again, right? Like there's some guys that are building and some people aren't, and some people that truly want to build this base. And at the end of the day, like, everyone will always be around. Everyone will always be welcome, this and that. But it's just because of self-awareness. Kind of like, when we talk about who to trust. Someone says, hey, buy this. And you say, hey, who made it? This person? You're like, 100%, there's my money. But I know it might come down. I'll hammer that dip because I know this guy's got my back. He ain't going to let it die. So, like, there's some people that you can literally not trust. Listen, there's that meme that says don't trust anyone, don't even trust yourself. And that's very true. but there has to be some sort of gamble in crypto. And when it comes to percentage, like listen, like I come from the world where I do a lot of sports betting, or did, not so much now. 65% is a good win if you gamble for a year straight. So that's a good win. So I hate to say it, but like if I trust one of these guys remotely over fucking 50-60%, like yeah, you damn right I'm gonna buy whatever fucking token you're putting out. And I don't mean to get sorry, I'm getting vulgar, I'm getting very talkative. I apologize.
No problem. No problem. Well, look, listen, Stu. Is there anything else that you want to cover? I'm going to have to wrap this up in probably like very soon. I have to.
No worries, man. It was funny because when we first kind of set out to have the conversation, I thought it was going to be maybe 15 to 20 minutes of wasting your time. I created Stu and I said, hey, there's at least maybe another 15 or 20 minutes. I think we're what, close to an hour and a half now?
Yeah, just over an hour and a half, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, damn. I'm like my old man. I could talk. And they said they said you were going to talk my ear off, and I said, nope, that's not happening. No, you know what, Steve? You've been awesome. I appreciate the platform. We appreciate what you do for the space. After this, I want you to send me your wallet. I'm going to send you some stew. I'm also going to send you a PGB 404. Listen, I don't know how old you are. You have kids or whatever, but like it's a slice of history to have. It's an old school Pokemon game. Dev is completely anonymous, but I don't know if he had planned to do airdrop if you hold one in the future, but not bad to have one. So on top of that, like I said, man, I'm here for the Stu community. I'm here for Pulsechain. We're not going to stop building. And like I said, okay, I'm not a Richard Hart maxi. I've never been hexed, but I see what this guy is doing. You take a step back and you see what he is doing and what he is doing for us. And I can't get enough money into Pulsechain. You know what I mean? We are super grateful, and everyone's going to have their own opinions about how everything's going to work out, and that's fine. Everyone has to keep an open mind to everything.
Oh, Stu just got rugged. Okay, all right. Well, Stu got rugged, so we'll just leave it at that. I'll give it a minute in case he wants to do any closing statements. But if anyone's got any questions, I'm going to wrap this up in just a couple of minutes because, like I said, I've got a class to run, so I have to actually have some lunch first and get ready for that class. But if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, it looks like everybody was pretty content with that little chat. Hopefully, it was a good lesson about how to actually create Atropa dev. Was it the actual Atropa dev? Well, I wonder. Just went back on the comments. So hopefully that was a good little outline about how actually to create tokens for the ecosystem, how to actually participate in the ecosystem, the kind of mindset that you should have if you want to do it. Again, I'm all about the mindset. I want to bring people who are givers into this community, into Pulsechain, not people who are takers. I mean, yes, there's going to be takers, and like Stu said, we are all here for something. We want to take something out of crypto for ourselves. But I think for a lot of the people, they don't want to take it out so they can just, like, honestly speaking, waste it on Lamborghinis and mansions. Those things. Alexander the Great, man, it's always my favorite quote. Alexander the Great conquered the world. He was the first man. So shout out to Alexander the Great. Macedonia, that's my motherland. Conquered the known world, and his dying wishes were to leave his coffin with his hands held out like this, his palms open, so the world could see that the man who won the world died with nothing. It's all about the legacy that you put onto the world. It's all about the impact, the lives that you can change. The Lamborghinis and stuff, I mean, even Elon Musk, same thing, man, has all these Lamborghinis and cars, and then he realizes, like, this is not it. And then he just lives a simple life. These big houses, this is not it. It's wasted. It's wasted economic energy. I'm not impacting anything. It's like, yeah, I'm going to buy this Lamborghini, and then the next one comes along, and the next one. it's not it. It's boring. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't fulfill anything, because it's just a transient. It's like it doesn't last. It's not eternal. So what kind of legacy can we make? And that's what I really am seeing a lot with Pulsechain. People who want to impact the world in a positive place, and that's something that I love. That's something that I really love about this. So that if anyone has selfishness in this ecosystem that I'm noticing, it's that they actually want to use something to contribute positively to the world. And I think a lot of that is thanks to Richard Hart's mindset. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and happy Easter, everybody. So whether you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, have a good time. It's all, for me, I love them all, but happy Easter. Jesus was a beautiful, wonderful man. Let's show our respect regardless of our religions, and let's just all get along together. So take care, everyone, and have a good weekend.